Reflection for the second Sunday before Advent. I have an Italian friend lodging with me at the moment, and on Saturday night he asked me about all the fireworks. Who was it, he wants to know, that got married, and why such a great celebration? The noise and light have of course been celebrating Diwali, the 5-day festival of light, kept by Hindus, Sikhs, Jains, and some Buddhists. Explained simply, Diwali remembers the victory of light over darkness, or good over evil, and that is a theme that feels particularly at home as the nights draw in. The stories recounted by Hindus relate to Lord Ram, who with his travelling companions successfully recovers his wife Sita. In Hinduism, the stories of the gods are important, and in this one, it's a combination of persistence and working as a team that's rewarded with success. Gods struggle against one another, and through their actions determine the fate of humanity, and perhaps also provide an example to us. To help us to think up our readings today, we need to know that we are approaching the end of the church year. You may have noticed that this Sunday is called the second Sunday before Advent. This is telling us we've reached the penultimate Sunday before the end of the church year. Next week, we will mark Christ the King, which also celebrates the victory of good over evil. However, the story here isn't about the work of gods against each other, but the achievement of Christ in bringing about a new kingdom. In this kingdom season, we think of the achievements not of gods, but of the disciples of Jesus in bringing that kingdom to fruition. In other words, as Jesus' followers, we are the ones, with his help, making his kingdom a reality. So as we take stock of how we've been part of building God's kingdom on earth, what is it that we've achieved as we've followed Jesus here at St. Lawrence's over the last year? The struggle we've had is not with gods, but with the various things thrown to us by our circumstances, some personal, some shared. It has been a pretty grim year, with the combined spectre of a global pandemic and its range of impacts, Brexit negotiations, and political instability from Hong Kong to the United States. I have to say, though, that here at St. Lawrence's, I've seen the kingdom grow. I've seen love and care between members of the congregation, as some have volunteered and some have been willing to be looked after. We've had young people learn about the Christian faith and take a step of commitment, whether in confirmation or being admitted to First Communion. I've seen people here remain hopeful in the face of hardship and difficulty. We've seen the reach of our worship extend so that family members in other countries and members of the congregation hospital and members of the local community who might prefer not to step into a church building have been able to see our worship and understand something more of Christian belief and hope. We've had 7 new people take a step of commitment towards building Christ's kingdom in Eastcote by joining the PCC. So when I think about it, there's been a lot of growth. Even when in the midst of the pandemic, it's felt like we haven't had much to work with, we've taken what we've got and we've made the most of it. And with that encouragement, we can turn to our gospel reading. The parable of the talents often seems unfair. Those with 5 talents or 3 talents have enough to do something worthwhile. No one is going to laugh at the person with 5 talents or ignore them. But the person with just 1 talent seems disadvantaged 3 times over. First, they have less money than the other 2. Then they have less opportunity because it's possible to do less with less money. They're less likely to be taken seriously by investors. And finally, the one-talent man loses out again by then getting punished for his despondency at being at the bottom of the heap. However, here we're brought up against the point of the parable. A talent was a measure of weight at the time, and when applied to silver, represented that weight of silver, namely 36 kilograms. Imagine what you might do with 36 kilograms of silver today. As currency, a talent was worth 16 years of wages. So it's not that the one-talent person doesn't have anything that's worth having. It seems to be that because he doesn't have 5 talents or 3 talents, his focus on what others do have leads to inaction. In other words, it seems his feelings are hurt because he can't have what his neighbor has, and then he forgets the great fortune that has been entrusted to him. The lesson is that we are called to do our best with what is entrusted to us and to receive what we have as a gift, to accept and value what we have and to make the most of it. And this is the difference between the faith celebrated at Diwali and the Christian faith. Christians celebrate the light of Christ, Jesus' victory over death and evil. But for us, the work to establish a kingdom of peace and joy does not stop with God's action. Rather, we are charged to receive what we have as a gift that we are asked not to bury or sit on or keep in the state we've been given it. No, we're called to invest what we've been given, to use it, to give it away, to make it into something new. As Jesus said of himself, unless a grain of seed falls to the ground, it remains just one grain. So what do we see if we take a wider view of what we have at St. Lawrence's? As I said at the beginning, I think we've been blessed with a rich range of gifts in our common life here. But have we been investing? Have we been using the gift that we have in a way that makes that gift grow, change, become something new, multiply? It is one thing to celebrate the victory of light over darkness, good over evil, ignorance over knowledge. But Christ calls us to build with him a kingdom. On this second Sunday of Advent, we're asked to pause and take stock of our progress.